Welcome back to day 5 of Faithful Footprints of the Old Testament Trail. Today, we're diving back into the Book of Enoch. Thank you all for joining Big Russ and Regina. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you want to support us further, just watch the entire episode. Let's get started.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Biblical Bible Beginnings. I am Big Russ, and we have my lovely wife, Regina, here on camera today. And I would like to thank Mary Beth for that welcome. And we are in our Bible reading challenge, Faithful Footsteps of the Old Testament Trail. And part of that includes the Book of Enoch. And so we are in the Book of Enoch. We are reading today from chapter 14 through chapter 36. Sounds like a lot, but if you have the book open, it's really not that much. We should be able to get through that with no problems.
Sounds great, hubby. I'm so stoked for this. I mean, so we're already in day 5, you guys. We are super stoked about this. We hope you are all enjoying it thus far. Please remember to leave all your feedback, comments, prayer requests, and praise reports. And through this, maybe we won't have as many prayer requests because we'll all learn how to pray for ourselves and each other. And so that's how we do it. So you guys, like Big Russ said, we are in Day 5 of Faithful Footsteps of the Old Testament Trail. We're reading the Book of Enoch, chapter 14, verse 1 is where we're going to start. I'm going to do some overlay. I did some visual stuff for us, babe. So I thought that could play while we're reading, and then we'll keep going.
Sounds good.
I'm ready whenever you are, sir.
All right, I'll get started. Chapter 14, verse 1. The book of the words of righteousness and of the reprimand of the eternal watchers in accordance with the command of the Holy Great One in that vision. Verse 2, I saw in my sleep what I will now say with a tongue of flesh and with the breath of my mouth, which the Great One has given to men to converse therewith and understand with the heart. Verse 3, as he has created and given to man the power of understanding the word of wisdom, so hath he created me also and given me the power of reprimanding the watchers, the children of heaven. Verse 4, I wrote out your petition, and in my vision it appeared thus, that your petition will not be granted unto you throughout all the days of eternity, and that judgment has been finally passed upon you. Yeah, your petition will not be granted unto you. You're muted.
Sorry, wow. Let me just back up really quickly to where he's talking about the written word. He's saying that the word was known, right? And that they knew the word, right? And we're told that all through it. So verse 3, verse 4, verse 3 at the end of it, as he created and given to man the power of understanding the word of wisdom, so hath he created me also and given me the power of reprimanding the watchers, the children of heaven. Wow. Okay, so and he wrote the petition, and so now he's saying it will not be granted unto them until I'm going to pick up verse 5. Can I real quick?
Yeah.
And from henceforth you shall not ascend into heaven unto all eternity, and in bonds of the earth the decree has gone forth to bind you for all the days of the world. So they're bound. Wow. Okay. So does that mean? Okay, I'm not even going to go off anywhere with this, babe. Keep going. I'm going to play the visual aid. Just keep going.
Yeah, the visual aid will help explain a lot of it, hopefully. Verse 6, and that previously you shall have seen the destruction of your beloved sons, and ye shall have no pleasure in them, but they shall fall before you by the sword. Verse 7, and your petition on their behalf shall not be granted, nor yet on your own, even though you weep and pray and speak all the words contained in the writing which I have written. Verse 8, and the vision was shown to me thus: behold, in the vision clouds invited me, and a mist summoned me, and the course of the stars and the lightnings sped and hastened me, and the winds in the vision caused me to fly, and lifted me upward, and bore me into heaven.
And that word is hastened. So hasten made him move quicker.
Mm-hmm. Verse 9, and I went in till I drew nigh to a wall which is built of crystals and surrounded by tongues of fire, and it began to affright me. Verse 10, and I went into the tongues of fire and drew nigh to a large house which was built of crystals, and the walls of the house were like a tessellated floor made of crystals, and its groundwork was crystal.
Babe, can I share something with you really quick that you're reading that part about the crystals? So, I don't know why this is messing up like this. You see how it's doing?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so, oh my gosh. So there's a feature on ChatGPT where you can ask it to do something and like make it look like crystal or whatever. So some of the artwork in here is made to look like crystal. So it's very interesting that you mentioned the crystal stuff. So keep going, and I'm going to find a different way to play this. So keep going up.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Verse 11, its ceiling was like the path of the stars and the lightnings, and between them were fiery cherubim, and their heaven was clear as water. Do I?
Do you know what cherubim are?
No.
Angels.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when they talk about the Ark of the Covenant, and it has the cherubim, and then the cherubim outside of the Garden of Eden. It's those winged, they look like children almost with wings, but they're not children. I didn't know what they were either until a couple years ago.
Verse 12, a flaming fire surrounded the walls, and its portals blazed with fire. Verse 13, and I entered into that house, and it was hot as fire and cold as ice. There were no delights of life therein. Fear covered me, and trembling got a hold upon me. Verse 14, and as I quaked and trembled, I fell upon my face. Verse 15, and I beheld a vision, and lo, there was a second house greater than the former, and the entire portal stood open before me, and it was built of flames of fire. Verse 16, and in every respect it so excelled in splendor and magnificence and extent that I cannot describe to you its splendor and its extent. Verse 17, and its floor was of fire, and above it were lightnings, and the path of the stars, and its ceilings also was flaming fire. Verse 18, and I looked and saw therein a lofty throne. Its appearance was as crystal, and the wheels thereof as the shining sun. And there was the vision of cherubim. Verse 19, and from underneath the throne came streams of flaming fire, so that I could not look thereon. Verse 20, and the great glory sat thereon, and his raiment shone more brightly than the sun and was whiter than any snow. Verse 21, none of the angels could enter and could behold his face by reason of the magnificence and glory, and no flesh could behold him. The flaming fire was round about him, and a great fire stood before him, and none around could draw nigh him. 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him, yet he needed no counselor. Verse 23, and the most holy ones who were nigh to him did not leave by night nor depart from him. Verse 24, and until then I had been prostrate on my face, trembling, and the Lord called me with his own mouth and said to me, come hither, Enoch, and hear my word. And one of the holy ones came to me and waked me, and he made me rise up and approach the door, and I bowed my face downwards.
Wow. Wow.
That was his encounter with God, right?
Sounds that way. That's the way that I'm taking it.
Yeah,
Because he was one, he needed no counselor.
Yeah, and it mentioned him going up, and but it also mentioned a vision. So I don't know if that was like what actually happened, or that was his vision of what might happen. I think that was his vision.
Well, here's the thing, right? So when we talk about vision, right, he says he fell asleep and then he found himself in another place, right? And we hear about that all over the place, and we assume that it's a dream or a vision, but maybe that wasn't the case. Maybe the only way that he knows to describe it is to talk about, hey, I went to sleep, and this is what I saw, but this is where I was. I don't know. I mean, it seems to me that his experience was solidified, I'd say, by God when he was taken up and never had to experience the death part. But those are all great questions. And yeah, I tend to either God or Jesus won. And because we know that they were from the beginning, so the Father, the Son, and we only know human time. We don't know how time works there. So yeah, that's pretty crazy. All right, you ready to go to chapter 15? I don't know what's wrong with the visual aid tonight, you guys. I had a really good one. I'll probably take it down and see if maybe I can reload it if it'll work better, but I think it's just corrupted anyway. No worries. We've done pretty good so far with, pretty much keeping it together. So let's continue on. I'm going to start with chapter 15. And you ready, babe?
Yep.
All right. So, wow. Okay. So, but then it says the angel made him wake up. So, was he asleep in his vision? I mean, that's the thing, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either. All right. Well, let's keep reading. Maybe we'll get some clarity. Probably not, but we'll try. All right. So, chapter 15, verse 1. And he answered and said to me, and I heard his voice, fear not, Enoch. Thou righteous man and scribe of righteousness, approach hither and hear my voice. So, okay, if he made me rise up. So, was it an angel that was waking him up or the mighty one himself?
No, it was somebody. It was an angel, I believe, because it said, and the holy ones came to me and waked me.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Holy ones. There's only one holy one, so it said the holy and one of the holy ones. So yes, it was like an angel that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I get from it.
That's what I get from it too. All right, let's keep going. Ooh. All right, verse 2. And go, say to the watchers of heaven who have sent thee to intercede for them, you should intercede for men and not men for you. So the holy ones are telling him to go back and tell the watchers, why are you sending man to intercede for you? It should be the other way around. You're from the heavenly realm. You should be interceding for man. You should be protecting man, but that's not what they did. They corrupted us.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And then Enoch apparently was willing to intercede for them, you know? All right, let's keep going. Verse 3, wherefore have ye left the high, holy, and eternal heaven, and lain with women, and defiled yourselves with the daughters of men, and taken to yourselves wives, and done like the children of earth, and begotten giants, sons, and begotten giants as your sons. So they're like, what are you doing? Heavenly realm fallen watchers. I can't believe the audacity of you. You know, you're supposed to be protecting God's men that he made. He made you. You're more powerful, or maybe were at the time. They came and they did things they shouldn't have done. And now this is their penance. And still, instead of, trying to go up there themselves or trying to find a way, because they know they can pray to God, right? But they were so spoiled with, why were they jealous? Why did they want to corrupt us? That's a good question, I think.
Mm-hmm.
They were jealous of us because we were mortal. They don't know what that's like. All right, let's keep going. Oh, Lord. Verse 4, and though ye were holy, spiritual, living the eternal life, you have defiled yourselves with the blood of women, and have begotten with the blood of flesh, and begotten children is in parentheses, and as the children of men have lusted after flesh and blood, as those also do who die and perish. Therefore have I given them wives also, that they might impregnate them and beget children by them, that thus nothing might be wanting to them on earth. But you were formerly spiritual, living the eternal life, and immortal for all generations of the world. And therefore I have not appointed wives for you. For as for the spiritual ones of the heaven, in heaven is their dwelling. Verse 8, and now the giants who are produced from the spirits and flesh shall be called evil spirits upon the earth, and on the earth shall be their dwelling. Verse 9, evil spirits have proceeded from their bodies, because they are born from men, and from the holy watchers is their beginning and primal origin. They shall be evil spirits on earth, and evil spirits shall they be called. Verse 10, as for the spirits of heaven, in heaven shall be their dwelling. But as for the spirits of the earth, which were born upon the earth, on the earth shall be their dwelling. Verse 11, and the spirits of the giants afflict, oppress, destroy, attack, do battle, and cause trouble. They take no food, but nevertheless hunger and thirst, and cause offenses. And these spirits shall rise up against the children of men and against the women, because they have proceeded from them. All right, your turn.
Verse 16, or chapter 16, verse 1. From the days of the slaughter and destruction and death of the giants, from the souls of whose flesh the spirits, having gone forth, shall destroy without incurring judgment. Thus shall they destroy until the day of the consummation, the great judgment in which the age shall be consummated over the watchers and the godless, shall be wholly consummated. Verse 2, and now as to the watchers who have sent thee to intercede for them who had been aforetime in heaven, say to them, verse 3, you have been in heaven, but all the mysteries had not yet been revealed to you, and you knew worthless ones, and these in the hardness of your hearts you have made to the women, and through these mysteries women and men work much evil on earth. Verse 4, say to them, therefore, you have no peace.
Wow. I mean, so they probably, it sounds to me like just a couple of verses ago, what you read, that they're being reprimanded, saying that, you know, you didn't know all the answers. Just because you were up in the heavenly realms, you see man, you know, you're greater than they are. Maybe you thought that you could go there and be worshiped like God was being worshiped in the heavenly realms and here on earth. So they felt like they could come down and they were worshiped. And that's where, oh, wow, this is crazy. And you know, it's kind of understandable why the church would do this, why they would take this out, because, you know, people wouldn't be rushing to them anymore. They would understand more, I believe. Because
Yeah.
even though you can't really explain it, what we're reading now, it makes sense.
Mm-hmm. All right, chapter 17, verse 1. And they took and brought me to a place in which those who were there were flaming like flaming fire, and
Wait. I'm so sorry. You're in 17. I'm sorry. Keep going.
when they wished, they appeared as men. Verse 2, and they brought me to the place of darkness and to a mountain, the point of whose summit reached to heaven. Verse 3, and I saw the places of the luminaries and the treasuries of the stars and of the thunder, and in the uttermost depths, where where were a fiery bow and fiery bow and arrows, and their quiver, and a fiery sword, and all the lightnings. Verse 4, and they took me to the living waters, and to the fire of the west, which receives every setting of the sun. Verse 5, and I came to a river of fire, in which the fire flows like water and discharges itself into the great sea towards the west. Verse 6, I saw the great rivers and came to the great river and to the great darkness, and went to the place where no flesh walks. Verse 7, I saw the mountains of the darkness of winter, and the place whence all the waters of the deep flow. I saw the mouths of all the rivers of the earth, and the mouth of the deep.
All right, we're headed on to chapter
Yeah,
18.
you pick up 18?
I got it. Verse 1, I saw the treasuries of all the winds. I saw how he had furnished with them the whole creation and the firm foundations of the earth. Verse 2, and I saw the cornerstone of the earth. I saw the four winds which bear the firmament of the heaven. So, and it reads the earth and. Verse 3, and I saw how the winds stretch out the vaults of heaven and have their station between heaven and earth. These are the pillars of heaven. I saw the winds of heaven which turn and bring the circumference of the sun and all the stars to their setting. I saw the winds on the earth carrying the clouds. I saw the paths of the angels. I saw at the end of the earth the firmament of the heaven above. So remember, firmament is like the sky, basically. It's the sky before you get outside I guess would be the ozone layer before you break out into outer space.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's keep going. Verse 6, and I proceeded and saw a place which burns day and night. There are 7 mountains of magnificent stones, 3 towards the east and 3 towards the south. And as for those towards the east, one was of colored stone, and one of pearl, and one of jacinth, and those towards the south of red stone. Verse 8, but the middle one reached to heaven like the throne of God of alabaster, and the summit of the throne was of sapphire. And I saw a flaming fire, and beyond these mountains is a region, the end of the great earth. There the heavens were completed, and I saw a deep abyss with columns of heavenly fire, and among them I saw columns of fire fall, which were beyond measure, alike towards the height and towards the depth. Verse 12, and beyond that abyss I saw a place which had no firmament of the heaven above, and no firmly founded earth beneath it. There was no water upon it, and no birds, but it was a waste and horrible place. Verse 18, I saw there 7 stars like great burning mountains, and to me, when I inquired regarding them, the angel said, this place is the end of heaven and earth. This has become a prison for the stars and the host of heaven. Verse 15, and the stars which roll over the fire are they which have transgressed the commandment of the Lord in the beginning of their rising, because they did not come forth at their appointed times. So there's stars locked up in jail because when God blew them out of his mouth. Oh my God, it's like everything's alive. And they're proving all of this.
Mm-hmm.
Let's keep going. Wow. So verse 15, and the stars which roll over the fire are they which have transgressed the commandment of the Lord in the beginning of their rising, because they did not come forth at their appointed times. Wonder if they hid from the Lord. Verse 16, and he was wroth with them and bound them till the time when their guilt should be consummated, even for 10,000 years. Chapter 19, verse 1, and Uriel said to me, here shall stand the angels who have connected themselves with women, and their spirits, assuming many different forms, are defiling mankind, and shall lead them astray into sacrificing to demons as gods. Here shall they stand till the day of the great judgment, in which they shall be judged till they are made an end of. Verse 2, and the women also of the angels who went astray shall become sirens. Verse 7, and I, Enoch, alone saw the vision, the ends of all things, and no man shall see as I have seen. I'm not sure we'd want to. So I'm going to read on to chapter 20, then you could pick up 21 and keep going. Do you have any comments so far?
Just that last sentence that you read, like, just kind of puts it into perspective a little bit. I, Enoch, alone saw the vision, the ends of all things, and no man shall see as I've seen it, which nobody else did.
And they won't.
He was purposely taken up by God, so he would have been the only one until Jesus.
Right. And and speaking of no man, like, yes, exactly, because Jesus was already up there at that time, right? So even though Jesus already existed, even though he hadn't come to earth in fleshly form, and I think that's where we all get so messed up with, and that's where they try to bring the confusion with well, it's a sin because that's where the Jewish law says it's blasphemy. It's a sin to put anything above God, Abba, whatever. And I mean, man, we could go so many places with this. It's a lot. It's a lot we could pick apart. But in the sake of time, you guys, by the time this is already released out, we'll be heavy into our Wednesday night and Sunday night lives where we're talking more about this. We'll have had a chance to watch it again because usually I have a unique advantage as I've normally read stuff. This is the first time I'm reading the Book of Enoch. I wanted to wait and do it with my husband, Big Russ. So I have many questions too. So sorry about getting off track. Let's get into chapter 20. I'm going to do chapter 20. And the Big Russ is going to jump in and pick up chapter 21. And again, you guys, please forgive not having the artwork done. Maybe it'll work out to where I can get some up. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But we hope you guys are enjoying. All right, chapter 20. Verse 1. And these are the names of the holy angels who watch. Verse 2. Uriel, one of the holy angels who is over the world and over Tartarus. So Uriel is over hell. Tartarus is hell, basically.
Hmm.
And you know what else? The terminology Tartarus. That's a Greeks call. I mean, I think there's a lot of different cultures that call hell or refer to it as Tartarus, but I believe I thought it was a Greek term. And this is I mean, Enoch, I don't know what this is translated from. Maybe, I don't know, Sanhedrin Greek. Hell, I don't know. Let's keep going. All right. So, wow. That's crazy. We're going to look into that one, folks. If you guys know, let us know in the comment section. All right. So Uriel, one of the holy angels who is over the world and over Tartarus. Huh. That sounds okay. Verse 3, Raphael, one of the holy angels who is over the spirits of men. Verse 4, Raguel, Raguel. We'll have to ask Mary Beth later.
Raguel,
one of the holy angels who takes vengeance on the world of the luminaries. Verse 5, Michael, one of the holy angels, to wit, he that is set over the best part of mankind and over chaos. I said I wanted to learn more about the angels, baby, and this book is teaching me.
Yep.
This is exciting. Verse 6, Saraquel, one of the holy angels, who is set over the spirits who sin in the spirit. Verse 7, Gabriel, one of the holy angels, who is over paradise and the serpents and the cherubim. Verse 8, Remiel, one of the holy angels, whom God set over those who rise. Your turn.
Verse 21, or chapter 21, I'm sorry. And I proceeded to where things were chaotic. Verse 2, and I saw there's something horrible. I saw neither a heaven above nor a firmly founded earth, but a place chaotic and horrible. Verse 3, and there I saw 7 stars of the heaven bound together in it like great mountains and burning with fire. Verse 4, then I said, for what sin are they bound, and on what account have they been cast in hither?
Can you imagine having to see all this stuff? Like I even going back a couple of chapters when he's talking about the freezing cold at the same time of the fiery heat. Like, okay, keep going. I'm sorry. I'm just been like, wow, this is nuts.
Yeah.
So there's basically angels in jail, is what he's saying. There's they're all locked up. They're in lockup.
Yeah. Verse 5, then said Uriel, one of the holy angels who was with me and was chief over them, and said, Enoch, why dost thou ask and why art thou eager for the truth? Verse 6.
Wait, don't we ask this all? Why do we want to know? What is our motive for wanting to know? Let's find out.
Verse 6. These are the number of the stars of heaven, which have transgressed the commandment of the Lord, and are bound here till 10,000 years. The time entailed by their sins are consummated. Verse 7. And from thence I went to another place, which was still more horrible than the former. And I saw a horrible thing, a great fire there, which burnt and blazed, and the place was cleft as far as the abyss, being full of great descending columns of fire. Neither its extent or magnitude could I see, nor could I conjecture. Verse 8. Then I said, how fearful is the place, and how terrible to look upon. Verse 9. Then Uriel answered me, one of the holy angels who was with me, and said unto me, Enoch, why hast thou such fear and affright? And I answered, because of this fearful place, and because of the spectacle of the pain. Verse 10. And he said unto me, this place is the prison of the angels, and here
Welcome back to day 5.
forever.
Sorry, that was an accident. Keep going.
Chapter 22, verse 1. And thence I went to another place, and he showed me in the west another great and high mountain, and of hard rock. Verse 2. And there was in it 4 hollow places, deep and wide, and very smooth. How smooth are the hollow places, and deep and dark to look at. Then Raphael answered, one of the holy angels who was with me, and said unto me, these hollow places have been created for this very purpose, that the spirits of the souls of the dead should assemble therein, ye that all the souls of the children of men should assemble here. Verse 4. And these places have been made to receive them till the day of their judgment, and till their appointed period, till the period appointed till the great judgment comes upon them. So is that like a I guess that's heaven.
So I was looking at this visual. I want to show you something really quickly before it started messing up. When you read about the great hole, and I can't pause it, so you're gonna have to recognize it when it comes up if you can see it. So this is like the, the fiery places, but here it comes. So it's after this. Right there, you see. So like, I mean, that's a great question, because it sounds to me like he didn't understand what he was seeing. He's trying to explain to us what he's seeing, but at one minute he's seeing heaven and hell, it seems like, at the same time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's going from a place where he's used to the concept of time, and there is no concept of time, right? I don't know what's parable and what's literal. I don't know. So yeah, I what verse were you on, by the way?
Verse 4 in chapter 2.
Yeah, yeah. I don't. Okay, so let me look at this. So then Raphael answered, one of the holy angels who was with me. So all the angels were with him, man, dang. And said unto me, these hollow places have been created for this very purpose, that the spirits of the souls of the dead should assemble therein. Yea, that all the souls of the children of men should assemble here. So it sounds like everybody's locked away together in one place until Judgment Day, is what it sounds like to me. And remember, this is pre-Jesus, right? Yeah. And these places have been made to receive them till the day of their judgment, until their appointed period, till the period appointed, till the great judgment comes upon them. So, you guys, that's why they don't want, this is why it was left out of the canonical right here, I feel like, because all those people that say if you don't accept Jesus Christ before you leave this earthly realm, that you're going to burn in a lake of fire. Nobody knows that. Nobody knows that for certain. And for what it sounds like, from what Enoch is telling us, that we may all kind of go into one place until we're finally judged. From what we understand, from what we've read from Old Testament to New Testament, and to me, the Book of Enoch just confirms it, that, hey, if you want to wait and you want to stay on the fence, right? But it's all about having that relationship with Jesus Christ anyway. So if we're only doing it because we want to buddy up to Jesus because we hope that it'll save us, I don't know your heart. He does, though. And that's all that matters. So I don't have to explain to you. You don't have to explain to me. We should feel each other's hearts. And if you know my heart isn't in the right place, I can guarantee you this: there won't be an endeavor that I'll ever take on, or that my good husband will ever take on, that our hearts won't be in the right place. We don't do it unless our heart is in the right place. And I think if more of us could get to that, what does it matter when we leave this earth, how we leave this earth? We'll be glad to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Keep going.
Verse 5, I saw the spirits of the children of men who were dead, and their voice went forth to heaven and made suit. Then I asked Raphael, the angel who was with me, and I said unto him, this spirit, whose is it whose voice goeth forth and maketh suit? And he answered me, saying, this is the spirit which went forth from Abel, whom his brother Cain slew, and he makes his suit against him till his seed is destroyed from the face of the earth, and his seed is annihilated from amongst the seed of men.
Hold the phone. Hold the phone. Did he say that Abel is waiting in that place and cursing Cain?
Yeah, sounds.
Yeah.
And he answered me, saying, this is the spirit from which went forth from Abel, whom his brother Cain slew, and he makes his suit against him till his seed is destroyed from the face of it. So
And God asked Cain, told Cain, I can hear your brother's blood crying out to me from the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Huh, interesting. I wonder if people would look at that verse a whole new way after reading this.
Right.
Keep going.
Verse 8, then I asked regarding it, and regarding all the hollow places, why is one separated from the other? Verse 9, and he answered me and said unto me, these three have been made that the spirits of the dead might be separated, and such a division has been made for the spirits of the righteous, in which there as the bright spring of water. Verse 10, and such has been made for sinners when they die and are buried in the earth, and judgment has not been executed on them in their lifetime.
Okay, so this is kind of making a little bit of sense when other people talk about, they refer to it as different paradises, different places in the heavenly realms. This is kind of making a little more sense. Keep going.
Verse 11, here their spirits shall be set apart in this great pain till the great day of judgment and punishment and torment of those who curse forever, and retribution for their spirits. There he shall bind them forever.
Mm.
Verse 12, and such a division has been made for the spirits of those who make their suit, who make disclosures concerning their destruction, when they were slain in the days of the sinners. Verse 13, such has been made for the spirits of men who were not righteous, but sinners, who were complete in transgression, and of the transgressors, they shall be companions, but their spirits shall not be slain in the day of judgment, nor shall they be raised from thence. Verse 14, then I blessed the Lord of glory and said, blessed be my Lord, the Lord of righteousness, who ruleth forever.
Wow. That's what I think about. I think about that. Repeat what you just said. You think about the people that
Well, you
could
think
you
about, all your friends or family or, people that you've gone to church with or whatever for years and years. I can read this right here and kind of put some of the puzzle pieces together. But, if there's somebody that's never read this, like, how do you have conversations with people about some of the things that we're reading in here? Or how do you expand on the Bible when, people that have only read the Bible, you know what I'm saying? Like they're
or
going to be like, oh, no. Like, let's stick to what's in the Bible. You can't go outside.
Or what about those people who haven't read the Bible? Because we talk about this all the time. How many people are Christian, go to church, but the only true written word they get is absorbed on Sunday mornings or
Yeah.
Wednesday nights or whatever? My concern really it lies with the people that jump straight to this book, but most people don't want to discuss the written word or any of it. They don't want to discuss it. They want to cram it down your throat or teach it. And to me, I think we have to stay open minded in our worship with Jesus. If we continually go around talking about, I'm no good, I'm never going to be any good, I was born a sinner. Listen, we know the facts of what, right? From my reading of the Bible, I'm clearly told that I can achieve blamelessness, that I can.
Mm-hmm.
And if these other people could too. And the people that I think we're all looking for answers that we're never going to get. And if we can wrap our head around that, we're never really going to get these answers until Judgment Day or until we get to the next journey of our or the next step of this journey, whether it's ascension, however it works, we're told as Christian that, we have Jesus on our side on Judgment Day. Now, people want to pick that apart and go once always saved, say once saved, always saved. They want to argue about that. What if we all stopped arguing with each other and just did it for the love of it, not feeling like we have to explain things to each other, but just marvel and have that Mary type relationship. And then the Martha acts of service.
Mm-hmm.
But we want to overcomplicate things. And I think that, I don't know how Enoch did it. I truly don't. And especially in those times, because you're coming fresh off the back end of where, he was probably wondering why all this stuff is going on. And now he's getting answers. And I love the fact that the angel's like, why are you asking these questions? Why do you ask so many questions? Why do you have to know how everything works? What will it change if you do know how it works?
Right.
Yeah, let's keep going.
Chapter 23.
Yes, sir.
From thence I went to another place to the west of the ends of the earth, and I saw a burning fire which ran without resting and paused not from its course day or night, but ran regularly. Verse 3, and I asked, saying, what is this which rests not? Then Raguel, one of the holy angels who was with me, answered me and said unto me, this course of fire which thou hast seen in the fire in the west, which persecutes all the luminaries of heaven. Chapter 24, and from thence I went to another place of the earth. He showed me a mountain range of fire which burnt day and night. And I went beyond it, saw 7 magnificent mountains, all differing each from the other, and the stones thereof were magnificent, beautiful, magnificent as a whole, of the glorious appearance and fair exterior, 3 towards the east, one founded on the other, and 3 towards the south, one upon the other, and deep, rough ravines, no one of which joined with any other. Verse 3, and the 7th mountain was.
Wait. Does that sound like floating mountains to you? Have you ever seen like those sci-fi movies where like there's just like when it shows like alien planets or whatever, if you see a sci-fi movie, which they may exist where they have like floating mountains that are detached that are just floating up in the air. Read those last couple of sentences because that's what that sounded like to me.
3 towards the east, one founded on the other, and 3 towards the south, one upon the other, and deep, rough ravines, no one of which joined with the other.
Oh, it's saying that all the ravines were separate and they didn't interconnect. So if you guys are looking on the screen, there will be a visual aid of that until the video starts messing up. Keep going, husband.
Verse 3, and the 7th mountain was in the midst of these, and it excelled them in height, resembling the seat of a throne, and fragrant trees encircled the throne. Verse 4, and amongst them was a tree such as I had never yet smelt, neither was any amongst them, nor were others like it. It had a fragrance beyond all fragrance, and its leaves and blooms and wood wither not forever, and its fruit is beautiful, and its fruit resembles the dates of a palm. Verse 5, then I said, how beautiful is this tree, and fragrant, and its leaves are fair, and its blooms very delightful in appearance. Verse 6, then answered Michael, one of the holy and honored angels who was with me, and was their leader.
I'm just in awe at the fact that he's sitting there having a conversation with all these angels.
All the angels, yeah.
Like my aunt, man. All right, let's go. Chapter 25, verse 1. And he said unto me, Enoch, why dost thou ask me regarding the fragrance of the tree? And why dost thou wish to learn the truth? Here we go, guys. Well, why do you want to know? Verse 2, then I answered him, saying, I wish to know about everything, but especially about this tree. Verse 3, and he answered, saying, this high mountain, which thou hast seen, whose summit is like the throne of God, is his throne, where the holy great one, the Lord of glory, the eternal King will sit when he shall come down to visit the earth with goodness. That sounds like a Jesus reference to me.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 4, and as for this fragrant tree, no mortal is permitted to touch it till the great judgment, when he shall take vengeance on all and bring everything to its consummation forever. It shall be given to the righteous and holy. So that may be the part of Revelation where Jesus is shown bloody. He's talked about, that he's bloody and all of that stuff. Like, you guys, they don't want us to be able to try to connect anything together. And I am talking about the evil ones, of the heavenly realms, because they are manifested into flesh. Let's keep going. All right. So,
Verse 5.
Thank you, babe. Verse 5, its fruit shall be for food to the elect. It shall be transplanted to the holy place, to the temple of the Lord, the eternal King. Verse 6, then shall they rejoice with joy and be glad, and into the holy place shall they enter, and its fragrance shall be in their bones, and they shall live a long life on earth, such as thy fathers lived. And in their days shall no sorrow or plague or torment or calamity touch them. They're talking about us, baby.
Mm-hmm.
You know that?
Mm-hmm.
Verse 7, then blessed I, the God of glory, the eternal King, who hath prepared such things for the righteous, and hath created them, and promised to give to them. Chapter 26, verse 1, and I went from thence to the middle of the earth, and I saw a blessed place in which there were trees with branches abiding and blooming of a dismembered tree. Verse 2, and there I saw a holy mountain, and underneath the mountain to the east there was a stream, and it flowed towards the south. And I saw towards the east another mountain higher than this, and between them a deep and narrow ravine. In it also ran a stream underneath the mountain, and to the west thereof there was another mountain, lower than the former, and of small elevation, and a ravine deep and dry between them. And another deep and dry ravine was at the extremities of the three mountains. Verse 5, and all the ravines were deep and narrow, being formed of hard rock, and trees were not planted upon them. Verse 6, and I marveled at the rocks, and I marveled at the ravine. Yea, I marveled very much. I bet he did. I bet he did. I'm thinking we're just marveling, reading what he marveled at seeing. Chapter 27, then I'll let you take over. Verse 1, then said I, for what object is this blessed land, which is entirely filled with trees, and this accursed valley between? Verse 2, then Uriel, one of the holy angels who was with me, answered and said, this accursed valley is for those who are accursed forever. Here shall all the accursed be gathered together, who utter with their lips against the Lord unseemly words, and of his glory speak hard things. Here shall they be gathered together, and here shall be their place of judgment. In the last days there shall be upon them the spectacle of righteous judgment in the presence of the righteous forever. Here shall they be gathered together, and here shall be their place of judgment. Verse 3, in the last days there shall be upon them the spectacle of righteous judgment in the presence of the righteous forever. Here shall the merciful bless the Lord of glory, the eternal King. Verse 4, in the days of judgment over the former, they shall bless him for the mercy in accordance with which he has assigned them. And in parentheses, it reads their lot. Verse 5, then I blessed the Lord of glory and set forth his glory and lauded him gloriously. I'm gonna read all the way till you can pick up at 32 because it's so short. That way you can. All right, chapter 28, verse 1. And thence I went towards the east into the midst of the mountain range of the desert, and I saw a wilderness, and it was solitary, full of trees and plants. Verse 2, and water gushed forth from above. Verse 3, rushing like a copious watercourse. Towards the northwest, it caused clouds and dew to ascend on every side. Chapter 29, verse 1. And thence I went to another place in the desert and approached to the east of this mountain range. Verse 2. And there I saw aromatic trees exhaling the fragrance of frankincense and myrrh. And the trees also were similarly to the almond tree. So we got frankincense and myrrh references here. We all know what that is. Jesus. It was the gifts that the wise men, the Magi, brought to Jesus. chapter 30, verse 1. And beyond these, I went afar to the east, and I saw another place, a valley of water, and there's full of water in parentheses. Verse 2. And therein there was a tree, the color of fragrant trees, such as the mastic. Verse 3. And on the sides of those valleys I saw fragrant cinnamon, and beyond these I proceeded to the east. Chapter 31, verse 1. And I saw other mountains, and amongst them were groves of trees, and there flowed forth from them nectar, which is named Sarara and galbanum. I don't know, galbanum. Verse 2. And beyond these mountains I saw another mountain to the east of the ends of the earth, whereon were aloe trees, and all the trees were full of stacte, being like almond trees. We'll have to look up that word, stacte. I don't know what that means. Verse 3. And when one burnt it, it smelled sweeter than any fragrant odor. Your turn.
And after these
Can
fragrant,
you start over? I'm sorry, I had you muted when the dog was barking. My bad.
chapter 32, verse 1, and after these fragrant odors, as I looked towards the north over the mountains, I saw 7 mountains full of choice nard and fragrant trees and cinnamon and pepper. Verse 2, and thence I went over the summits of all these mountains far towards the east of the earth, and passed above the Earthanian. Yeah,
I couldn't help you, baby. I'm looking at it going, I have no idea. I don't know. Okay. But yeah.
Erythrian. Erythrian.
Hold on. Stop. Erythraean.
Erythraean sea,
Erythraean Sea.
and went far from it, and passed over the angel
Zotiel.
Zotiel.
Yeah.
3.
That's why I saved that chapter for you, baby.
And I came to the garden of righteousness, and saw beyond those trees many large trees growing there, and of goodly fragrance, large, very beautiful, and glorious, and the tree of wisdom whereof they eat and know great wisdom. Verse 4, that tree is in height like the fir, and its leaves are like those of the carob tree, and its fruit is like the clusters of the vine, very beautiful, and the fragrance of the tree penetrates afar. Verse 5, then I said, how beautiful is the tree, and how attractive is its look. Then Raphael, the holy angel who was with me, answered me and said, this is the tree of wisdom, of which thy father, old in years, and thy aged mother, who were before thee, have eaten, and they learnt wisdom, and their eyes were opened, and they knew that they were naked, and they were driven out of the garden. So that's a reference to Adam and Eve, right? You're muted.
I know, I'm sorry. I was just thinking, yeah, that definitely sounds like Adam and Eve, and especially the part where he's referencing the tree of life and the tree of knowledge, right? And so I'm like, well, that's the Garden of Eden. Where I mean, they wouldn't have a need for that in the heavenly realms, would they? That would only be like an earthly thing.
Mm-hmm.
But they just took him all over the place, didn't they? Okay, keep going, baby.
Chapter 33, verse 1, and from thence I went to the ends of the earth, and saw their great beasts, and each differed from the other. And I saw birds also differing in appearance and beauty and voice, the one differing from the other. Verse 2, and to the east of those beasts I saw the ends of the earth, whereon the heaven rest, and the portals of the heaven open. Verse 3, and I saw how the stars of heaven come forth, and I counted the portals out of which they proceed, and wrote down all their outlets of each individual star by itself, according to their number, and their names, their courses, and their positions, and their times and their months, as Uriel, the holy angel who was with me, showed me.
Okay, let's talk about this for a second. I mean, this is only making more and more sense as to why this wouldn't have been included, why it would have been taken out, because there's a lot of knowledge here that back in the day, people would have wondered at scientists, right? This would have answered so many questions for back in that day, I think. And once they find knowledge and they're able to figure things out, well, they didn't want other people to know it, right? Like, or make people think that it's bad, that it's heresy if we read this, that we'll go to hell, we'll burn up in flames if we read anything. I mean, listen, God wants us to learn.
Yeah, and this what I've gathered so far is like, when you read the Bible, it jumps around and it goes from, the creation of the heavens and earth and all the, wildlife and all the trees and plants
It
and
almost sounds like they
it does
took
talk
him back
about,
in time to the
and it
very
does,
beginning.
yeah, and it does talk about that stuff in the Bible, but it's very, very small. Yeah, it's very vague, very small amounts of it. This right here, if you want to know more about that stuff and the creation of life and all that stuff, you need to read this, because this explains everything that is missing out of that just briefly touches on it in the Bible.
Right. Like you only get, I mean, we're getting so much more detail here about the Garden of Eden, all of it. And I mean, listen, you guys, this is just our take on it. And I will say it again, do not let anyone else read your Bible for you. Do not let anyone else read any other book for you. Right. And we do need to speak up. All right, keep going. I'm enamored by all of this because I love the way that we think the same. So it must be reading the same, saying the same thing, because we're seeing the same things, we're hearing the same things, we're visualizing the same things, and it sounds exactly like he went on such a dimensional trip, such a multi-dimensional trip, not just time, but space, place, all of it. So let's keep going.
Verse 4, he showed all things to me and wrote them down for me. Also, their names he wrote for me, and their laws and their companies. Chapter 34, verse 1, and from thence I went towards the north to the ends of the earth, and there I saw a great and glorious device at the ends of the whole earth. Verse 2, and here I saw three portals of heaven open in the heaven. Through each of them proceed north winds. When they blow, there is cold, hail, frost, snow, dew, and rain. Verse 3, and out of one portal they blow for good, but when they blow through the other two portals, it is with violence and affliction on the earth, and they blow with violence.
Sounds like a hurricane.
Mm-hmm. Chapter 35. We are almost done, guys.
We are. Guys,
35,
this is
verse
crazy.
1.
Keep going, babe.
And from thence I went towards the west to the ends of the earth, and saw there three portals of the heaven open, such as I had seen in the east, the same number of portals and the same number of outlets. Chapter 36, verse 1. And from thence I went to the south to the ends of the earth, and saw there three open portals of the heaven, and thence there come dew, rain, and wind.
Verse 2. And from thence I went to the east to the ends of the heaven, and saw here the three eastern portals of heaven open, and small portals above them. Verse 3. Through each of these small portals pass the stars of heaven, and run their course to the west on the path which is shown to them. Finish this out. Verse 4, baby.
And as often as I saw, I blessed always the Lord of glory, and I continue to bless the Lord of glory, who was wrought great and glorious wonders to show the greatness of his work to the angels and to spirits and to men, that they might praise his work and all his creation, that they might see the work of his might and praise the great work of his hands and bless him forever.
Wow. I mean, my only question would be, why was this left out? He gives
Right.
all honor and glory and praise to Abba, to God, to, I mean,
Without Enoch, we would never know about any of this stuff. That's why he was such an important person in the Bible. That's why he's got his own book that's not listed in the Bible. I wish it kind of was, but it could have really made the Bible maybe more confusing or whatever. But I'm, even though it's very hard to understand, I'm starting to really grasp why he is such an important person, because without him, we don't know these things. We don't know that we would never know them.
I feel like that's how every book was ever written, was maybe because of him, that the knowledge that we have, like even the authors and all of that. And I'll say it again, I'm not saying that anything was stolen from us, taken from us, hidden from us. It just, that's what happens. That's what people do in wartime. Back then, that's what they did. Was it was cancel culture, so they did the book burnings. It was their equivalent of a book burning, that if they wanted total reign over people, they would take everything from them and everything they believed in. If it weren't for Enoch, I mean, I'm not sure that we would have the writings in the Bible that we do. And I just cannot believe, I'm upset that he would be taken out. I'm not upset because I feel like I've been lied to or any of that. Do I think I would have missed anything if I wouldn't have read the Book of Enoch? No, because I already have that relationship with Jesus Christ and I know my Bible. I'm just going to say it like this, you guys: when we start closing ourselves off, we only hurt ourselves and our relationship that we could possibly deepen with Jesus Christ. That's up to you guys. You guys, we thank you so much for joining us. And babe, give us your final thoughts and then we'll close out.
I've already given my final thoughts. Without Enoch, we don't know. So there's so much we don't know, and it's a shame that this information that we're finding out in here isn't redirected from the, like, Enoch's mentioned a couple of times, and it's not even mentioned that he was much of a big deal or whatever. But like, if there would have been something in there from somebody that lived in that time that would have had, and maybe there wasn't anybody that was writing back then in the book of Genesis or whatever that mentions his name, that knew to say, I don't know those like, that's why I'm eager to learn more, because
I know.
I want to know why he wasn't mentioned and why we didn't know about a lot of this stuff. Because if I would have gone forever in my life and never written it, I would have always had questions about, is it real? Is it, was it science, or was it God? Like,
And this confirms it all.
I believe in God, so I would have always believed that, but I wouldn't have had much of a valid point to somebody that would have argued that it could be science, that, all this other stuff was created by that.
Yeah,
But
totally.
here I get it. I mean, I understand, and the more
Did you feel better now that you're reading it?
I do,
Like,
and so
I think that it's going to enrich your experience, because even though, like, I mean, this is what I love, because Rusty and I, we're very comfortable with, if I don't know something or I'm not familiar with something, I don't, he hasn't read the whole Bible like I have, and that's okay, right? That's the whole purpose of why we're doing what we're doing, right? You guys, we should ever feel less than or not smart just because we don't have a talent that someone else has. And that works in our relationships as well. I can only tell you I'm eager to share what I know, but I'm more eager to find out what people actually want to learn, right? When we start closing ourselves off from each other, getting so sensitive when it comes to the written word. I mean, it was always meant for us to want to know him and love him and worship him. And I'm more excited about getting more into this because I love how even Jesus asked those questions. Why are you asking about so and so that has left this earth? Judas Iscariot, number one. So no, I don't know why Enoch was left out. And they tried to do the same thing with Jesus.
Yeah, I'm gonna be asking Mary Beth some questions because I want to know, and I'm curious to get her point of view on that as well. So
Yeah, me too.
thank y'all, everybody. I know it's been a long one tonight, but thank you for being with us. I'm gonna close this out in prayer, and
and as soon as you do that, I'll just close up really quick to let you guys know, hey, tomorrow's readings are going to be like not as long, so that'll give us some time to really soak all this in. And that's another reason we take the weekends off, so that there's a weekend to let it all sink in and whatever. So close this out in prayer, you guys. The prayer that he's going to close us out with. You can find it. It came directly from Jesus's lips. It's in the book of Matthew, chapter 6, verses 9 through 13 are the meat and potatoes of it. It's also in all four of the Gospels. Husband, take us out.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and give us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us to temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
Amen. All right, guys, we'll see you on the next one.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you for joining us on Faithful Footsteps of the Old Testament Trail. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and follow. We'd love to hear your prayer requests, praise reports, and feedback. Until next time, may your journey be blessed.